Greetings everyone, it's Kaz here, so let's talk Star Wars Battlefront 2, shall we? So, as I'm sure you are aware, Star Wars Battlefront 2 is set to be revealed in the next week and a half or so at Star Wars Celebration, and I am personally really looking forward to it. So I'm sure you've read the title of the video. You can see that I'm very hopeful and optimistic for Star Wars Battlefront 2 after what many people do believe was a negative start with the reboot of the franchise in 2015 with the original EA Star Wars Battlefront. So as I said, I'm super excited for the reveal. I really am optimistic about it, and so today I'm going to talk about why I'm optimistic about Star Wars Battlefront 2 and maybe a bit of what I expect from the reveal as well. So despite my optimism, I do want to quickly talk about the chance that the reveal actually does go south. Don't get me wrong, I feel it's not going to, but after Star Wars Battlefront and after a lot of people's skepticism of EA and so on and DICE, it's certainly possible. I do honestly think they're going to do a good job and do right by the series, but there are a number of things that I'm not so confident about, including the amount of content the game will offer. And while that is across the board, I am talking specifically multiplayer here for the moment. This was a huge talking point for the original Star Wars Battlefront made by EA, of course, as the amount, or perhaps more appropriately, the lack of content caused a lot of controversy and frustration from gamers. I remember at the time of Star Wars Battlefront's original release, there were so many people in comment threads talking in the community. Very commonly, people that hadn't even played the game before were just completely trashing all over the game because they felt, and they'd heard everywhere else, that there's a lack of content, and it was really frustrating for so many people out there for sure. And another reason that this is a worry again this time around is that I personally don't own Battlefield 1, but from what I am aware of the small awareness I have into the community of that game, many people do feel in that Battlefield 1 community that the problems weren't fixed then either. That there was a severe lack of content on the multiplayer side of things in that game as well. And that DICE and EA essentially, and that is also something I'm very skeptical of happening again, that they're going to make that mistake again in Battlefront 2, considering now they've done it in the past 2 years in a row. However, an argument that can be made that goes against this skepticism is that the game is actually being developed cohesively by 3 different studios. So perhaps the fact that there's 3 different studios working on it at once other than just DICE, maybe that will assist in ensuring that the game has more maps and overall content. Considering it's 3 instead of 1 studios, it's pretty basic math, but I am hopeful on that end of things as well. Another thing that will certainly hopefully add more content is the addition of multiple eras that has been confirmed by EA, and of course Battlefront having multiple eras of the Star Wars universe is a really big deal, and is another thing that so many people have been craving and will certainly help in creating hero and map variety and diversity. So there are a lot of factors that are supporting the fact that this game will have more content than the original Battlefront and Battlefield 1, but it's really just their sketchy records that's making me a bit skeptical. Something else that would be awesome is the ability to mix and match eras in combat and in gameplay, and it would be something that I feel that adds a lot to the game and its fun factor overall, if you will, for lack of a better term. But unfortunately, again, for every good idea I feel like, and every optimistic idea I have here, I feel like there's something shutting it down, and I honestly do not think we're going to be able to mix and match these different eras, unfortunately. I do honestly think that the executives and people over at Lucasfilm are going to not allow that to happen because of things like canon interference and things like that, because we do know that the original Star Wars Battlefront was canon, and that means that I assume they will want to do the same with the sequel, especially with it having a campaign, so that will certainly be a problem, and because they want to keep these battles canon, I don't think we'll see that happening, which is definitely a sad thing. But overall, the multiplayer experience in Battlefront 2 should certainly, hopefully at least, be improved content-wise. That's kind of my main thing right now. I really just want it to have more content, and if it doesn't, it's going to be super disappointing, especially considering all the aforementioned factors and the criticism that the first Battlefront had. It would be really disappointing to see that EA and the devs working on this game did not learn from their mistakes that they've made now twice in a row. If they were to once again create a multiplayer mode that lacks the amount of content that gamers expect when they fork out their hard-earned cash on a new video game title. A AAA one at that. But Battlefront 2's huge addition that will no doubt stop many from complaining about the game's lack of content is the single-player campaign, much like with Battlefield 1. Despite the fact that Battlefield 1 has a similar amount of multiplayer content, people didn't bitch and complain about that game because it had single-player, and I strongly believe that. I'm super stoked for this single-player campaign. While I enjoyed the original Battlefront a decent amount, I'm not really a multiplayer kind of guy. I don't enjoy playing games online, so I couldn't help but continue to wonder what a single player campaign built in this incredible Frostbite engine, what it would actually look like. And now that's actually finally happening, and I'm almost 100% sure we're going to see it at Star Wars Celebration. Even though DICE aren't really known for their incredible storytelling in their games, especially in the Battlefield games, we've seen problems with those in the past, I do believe the consensus is that last year's Battlefield 1 was a huge step up for them in that department. So I do believe they will be able to take what they learned creating that style of campaign and successfully apply it to Battlefront 2. Whether or not it's going to follow the same vignette style of following multiple characters or not, I'm not sure. That's kind of irrelevant though. I do think that the lessons they learned overall in crafting a story and crafting a single player experience will be applied here and will be put to good use. Battlefront 2's campaign, in my eyes, also has the potential to become a similar situation to what happened with Titanfall 2, another EA flagship shooter, as the original Titanfall had no campaign, but when the sequel added one, it was considered the best aspect of that game. So Battlefront 2 could do the same thing there, where people are really enjoying the multiplayer, but it is actually the single player campaign that does steal the show for them. In terms of what I think we're going to see at this reveal, with all my hopefulness put to the side, I personally am expecting to see both a cinematic trailer, that's almost a guarantee, that happened with Battlefield 1 and the original Battlefront, and maybe perhaps a sneak peek, and maybe perhaps also a sneak peek at gameplay as well. I do believe that they will mainly focus on discussing the single player side of things at this initial reveal event because it is the big new thing going on, and I do believe they'll save multiplayer to maybe E3 or even maybe beyond that. But who knows, I wouldn't be shocked if we get a look at multiplayer at that time as well. So what do you guys think of Star Wars Battlefront 2? Are you excited? Are you as hopeful as I am? Do you think EA is going to stuff it all up again? Make sure you let me know in the comment section below, but that's enough from me. Thank you all very much for watching today's video. I'll see you all next time. Farewell.